A very warm welcome to The Social Show. My name is Vue Kyolwana and I'm coming to you live from the bohemian suburb of Melville in the heart of Johannesburg, and all we want to do is give you the very best of CSI and CSR so that you are informed and you can make better decisions in your day. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining, at least not as cold as it's been in the past week. And I kind of have a flu, so I'm trying to work through that. But, nothing stops for social TV. Nothing stops for the social show. Anyway, if you want to know a little bit more about what we do, don't forget to go to www.social-tv.co.za. Or if you have a story you want me to cover or to talk about, or you want to come on the show, give me a good reason, and you can email me on press@social-tv.co.za, and I will definitely at least give you a shout out or get a hold of you and make sure that you are on our show sometime during the year. Anyway, as per usual, we're going to start the day off with the news. For this Mandela Day, Pick n Pay and Food Forward SA have partnered for a national food drive with a goal to provide 1 million meals to beneficiaries of Food Forward SA. The campaign, which endorses the 2017 National Mandela Day theme, which is Take Action Against Poverty, will culminate on the 18th of July. Pick n Pay is Food Forward SA's biggest retail partner. This food drive will boost their ability to provide much needed food to their 600 beneficiary organization, which feed over 250,000 hungry people every day. The drive will take place at all Pick n Pay stores across South Africa. Volunteers will be in selected stores from the 14th to the 16th of July, handing out branded bags with a suggested list of items customers can purchase and donate. Customers can fill the bags with their donations and put them in specially marked containers in the front of the store. Participating stores will be listed on Pick n Pay's Facebook page closer to the date. The venues for the corporate packing event on 18 July are Cape Town Century City Conference Centre, Johannesburg Gallagher Convention Centre, Durban's Olives Convention Centre, and Port Elizabeth for Food Forward SA Port Elizabeth Warehouse. Next in our news, the G20 task force has issued the new climate-related financial disclosure framework, which will allow investors to identify and reward organizations with good climate change risk management strategies. The increased transparency requirement for reporting will benefit investors who have previously struggled to get consistent information before investing. The global financial meltdown of 2008 has fueled demand for transparent and meaningful financial information about climate-related risks and opportunities that companies face. The G20 task force has developed a new framework for companies to make these disclosures, and the framework has received widespread support from over 100 CEOs of global companies. And lastly, in our news, early warning and the mobilization of large-scale multi-sectoral humanitarian response have eased famine in Lear and Maindet countries and prevented it in Koch and Payinjar countries in South Sudan. Following the famine declaration, humanitarian organizations ramped up their response in Lear, Maindet, Koch and Payinjar, reaching more than 320,000 people, according to humanitarian coordinator for South Sudan, Eugene Owusu, who welcomed the findings of the latest integrated phase classification data. The humanitarian coordinator, however, urged the international community and humanitarian actors not to become complacent, as an unprecedented 6 million people are now severely food insecure, including 45,000 facing catastrophic food insecurity in Lear, Koch and Maindet, in Unity and Ayod, in Jonglei and as well, and 1.7 million in IPC phase 4 are also on the brink of famine. And that concludes our news for the day.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastdownmedia.co.za.
Yes, you are back on the social show. I was actually thinking to myself the other day that with the growing unemployment rate that's happening currently in South Africa, in fact, we're having the worst sort of number of young people unemployed. How many young people have actually looked into the development sector or the NGO sector for jobs, or have created their own sort of businesses through social entrepreneurship, one, but two, opening up an NGO? Or how many of us actually think about working at an NGO? Because I think the idea of working at an NGO may seem like you're working for free, pro bono, or something like that. It doesn't seem like something that is going to be fruitful, especially financially for young people. But that's not the case. That's not the case. NGO sector works like any other business. There's an accountant, there's a bookkeeper, there is all these different facets that you find in a normal business that you could find yourself, slotted in. So today what I'm going to talk about is how to secure, or rather how young people or anyone actually can start looking at job opportunities or job prospects within the NGO sector. I think it's very important that we start thinking outside the box. The other day I was interviewing the Piermont Hotel Benefit Trust, and they were speaking about how hospitality is becoming a little bit more attractive to young people, especially men as well. Men are thinking about getting into housekeeping and cooking and that kind of stuff. And I'm really excited to see us looking at different ways in which we can make income. But I have to admit that the NGO sector does not also seem attractive to young people. I don't see a lot of young people in the NGO sector unless they've started their own NGO, or they started a movement, or they're volunteering. It's very difficult actually for me to find somebody who is working a normal accounting job in an NGO that's young. And I think we need to change that perception. The same way we need to change a lot of perceptions. Like I said, in hospitality, in agriculture, we need to start seeing ourselves as young people in those spaces, dominating those spaces and really becoming leaders in those spaces, because that's majority of the change that we're looking for, majority of the money that we're all looking for, majority of that financial security we're all looking for is in those gaps. So that's exactly what I'm going to be speaking about a little bit today. Now, working in development in general is an attractive option for people around the world. A lot of people, I think, around the world have a better idea of working in development, because they think of it as tourism, they think of it as helping out. And also, if you think of their financial inequality, especially if they come from a first world country, development seems like, you're dedicating your life to helping. But I think if you're coming from a developing country, it doesn't have the same sort of power. So the sector has grown significantly over the past 2 decades as organizations have become larger, more sophisticated, and increasingly professionalized. Working for an NGO provides an opportunity to make a difference, like I said. It also gives you an opportunity to support others in need and create positive change in communities and the world over. How to actually secure a job with an NGO is a question that is frequently asked by people considering to break into the industry. Do I need a degree? Do I need to speak a different language? Do I need to volunteer first? What experience do I need? Are the kind of questions that you get because there's no real understanding of what kind of jobs exist in the NGO sector, right? The truth is there is no single route of entry into the sector. You've got people with diverse range of backgrounds, employment history, and experience finding employment in not-for-profit organizations. Now, NGOs, again, like I said, they operate just like any other business. They have people working in management, fundraising, in operations, in sales. Whilst the larger international development organizations such as UNICEF, Oxfam, Save the Children, and Unilever maintain whole departments for marketing, logistics, public relations, business development, human relations, product development, legal, and more. There are tens of thousands of opportunities advertised in NGOs every year, but the first thing you need to actually decide is what it is that you want to do. What is it that you want to do? What is it you want to achieve? What drives you? What change do you want to see in the world, in your community? Take time to understand what motivates you, and that will sort of give you that job satisfaction. Remember, I love jobs in the NGO sector because you can make a lot of money. You can travel the world, but you can also be doing something that that you can actively see. When you actively see people's lives change, I think it sort of changes the idea of it being a job. It becomes sort of a passion. It becomes something that makes you feel and makes you whole as a human being. And so many different perspectives can come from these different experiences of, helping people, like I just said, in South Sudan, like in famine, areas, war areas. Okay, obviously, obviously you don't want to get into war, but I mean, if you can help, you can help. Red Cross. If you think about, the fires in Neisner, I mean, how many people went out there to go help? It's all about changing your perspective, but also making some sort of financial contribution to your own life and to your own family. So it's not like you're just working for free all the time and everything is for free. It's really just about that personal satisfaction. And I must say that if you don't have the natural knack or have that ability or have that in you to change your community, to help see someone else, get further in life, to support people, to have someone's best interests at heart besides yours. And I'm not saying if you don't work in NGOs, you're selfish. I'm just saying that it really needs to be a passion. So you just really need to know what you love. For instance, do you want to work with refugees? Do you want to work with animals? Do you want to work with children? Do you want to work with disabled people, victims of war, the elderly, or any other cause you can think of? There will be an NGO providing solutions and opportunities. Now, securing a job in an NGO is competitive. I know you probably think it isn't, but it really is. And just like any other job, it needs qualities, it needs specific skills, some sort of knowledge and experience. It will get you the doors open a little bit faster, like any other job, right? And all you need to do is to be really determined and really have sort of a background into volunteering. That's what I'm saying. If you are interested in getting a job in NGOs, you probably are volunteering somewhere already. You probably have an NGO that you've started or you're thinking of starting. You have a community that needs something and you're trying to find a solution. So people who want to work in that space are already sort of in a way affiliated. You are either, doing Sunday school at church. You just involved in your community in one particular way. And I think that will always guide you. If that makes you happy, if those 5 minutes of volunteering is like everything to you, you might have to consider looking into working in the NGO sector. So you have to look for jobs you might be interested in and note what skills or experiences they are looking for. You have to make sure that you're not just picking because you are, you aren't trying, you just want to help. You have to make sure that you want to help a specific kind of, you have to be direct and sure of what kind of impact you want, like any other job, right? Like any other passion. Like you can't wake up one day and say I want to be a doctor if you don't have the natural knack or the natural ability or wanting to help people get better when they're sick. You have to have that in you. Everything is driven by passion. So for work in the field, like in emergencies, there is really no substitute for getting out there in the way that they can. If you want to get even basic support, work experience in an NGO, you have to work in a developing country. And your prospects for securing a job in similar work will be significantly increased. If you're unable to travel and want to gain experience in your own country, you should investigate if you can volunteer within organizations that support the projects in the developing world, and you will still be able to learn a great amount and develop some sort of knowledge base that will set you apart from your rivals. Invest in your future by developing professional skills that are relevant and in demand for the role and the organization that you want to work for. Some of the most valuable skills that can enhance your NGO's career prospects are, first of all, you have to at least try and speak another language. I think this is important. Depending on your role and choice of organization, developing an additional language skill could be significant in your advantage when applying for jobs in international NGO. You have to at least know one other language besides English, whether it's Chinese, whether it's an African language, whether it's Zulu or Swahili, whether it's any of the Indian languages. If you think of the developing countries there, in any country that you think you want to work in, kind of pick up or learn or go to an extra class just to pick up the language. That's something that's going to set you apart if you really do want to work for an NGO. The ability to speak and understand other languages is especially valued and sometimes in demand, especially in development organizations. Knowledge of foreign languages, knowledge of foreign lands will enable you to not only communicate, but to also work with different client groups, government officials, media, and personnel within that specific organization. You have to know some sort of foreign language. And for example, I know in United Nations, it is necessary that you are fluent in at least these 4 languages, which is Arabic, Chinese, English, French. Well, it's not 4, it's 5, 6. Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish, if you want to work for the UN. And that's already like a big leap. How are you going to learn Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish? But if this is where your heart is, this is where you're going to find yourself. It's like any other job. It's like if you wanted to work as an accountant, you can't just wake up one day and want to, work for Deloitte. You've got to go through, all these rigorous programs, all these rigorous classrooms and teachings, and you have to go through these tests and these exams in university and colleges for you to grasp the basic knowledge. And I think when you think of NGO, you think, it's easy peasy, man. All they need is, they just need people anyway, so they need me. No, if you really want to make a difference, learn your languages. Learn a foreign language. Learn, like I said, Chinese. Learn Mandarin, Spanish. Learn Zulu. Learn Swahili. Learn French. And I think then we can start. You can actually start really looking for these really nice higher up jobs, like in the UN or anywhere else, Canada. You can work anywhere else if you just have this fluency in language. And being able to speak a second language is not only critical depending on your role and organization. For example, if you plan as working in accounting within a domestic NGO, it may not be especially beneficial at all. But if you want to work for an NGO in the Middle East, you are likely going to need at least a good understanding of Arabic. So, for instance, if you're going to work, if you want to work in your hometown, like if you want to work in a local NGO, like I'm just thinking now, Gift of the Givers, for instance, you can sort of get away with not knowing a few languages. But if you want to enhance your career, like anyone else, right? Nobody wants to stay in one position forever. Nobody wants to stay in one specific concentrated area forever. You want to grow in your career. Remember, working in NGO can be a really significant, amazing career for you. You can travel the world, you can see different places, and you can learn other cultures. So if you want to always be, on top, learn another language. Also, another thing is cultural understanding. Now, language skills alone would be insufficient for someone keen to take on a career directly working with beneficiaries in an NGO, especially in a foreign country. For this type of career, or any where you are sort of working with different groups of people, it is vital, so vital that professionals are able to demonstrate that they are adaptable, able to manage difficult situations, and capable of effective conflict resolution. NGO professionals in the field need to be sensitive and able to demonstrate that they are sensitive to different cultural demands and expectations that demand changes in their behavior. Respect for other cultures is a way of life. For you to work in an NGO, not only do you have to understand the language, but you need to respect their culture. If something can't happen in the way that you want it to happen, you have to respect the processes that come together to sort of help the people. Because remember, NGOs are there to help the people in any way that they need help. And how can you give help if you don't know how they need the help? So you need to communicate well, but you also need to be respectful of how you need to approach whatever kind of help you are disseminating, whatever kind of information you are disseminating, whatever kind of knowledge you are trying to transfer, whatever skills you're trying to transfer. Remember that their cultures are different. So you need to respect, protocol, for lack of a better word, and make sure that you understand this is how, it is here, and I need to adapt and easily, adapt. So yeah, you need to respect other people's cultures. Another thing that's very important is work experience. Not only does a work experience arrangement provide you with valuable experience, but it also can help you land a job in development. It can also provide valuable insight into what type of work you would like to do within an NGO. Some larger NGOs offer internship opportunities that often pay some costs and enable you to learn the ropes from inside. You can work alongside experienced professionals and align yourself with a reputable organization. You can find an internship opportunities for most NGOs websites. Otherwise, you can always make contact with them by phone or email to discuss how you might be able to support them. We're always crying for for internships, and I think NGO sector is so much more easier for you to get an internship because they are looking for younger people to gain the skills so that they can carry on and improve on the NGOs that exist currently. So sometimes you're looking for these really crazy internships. I know you find an internship at Anglo American and there's only 10 people. 10 people can actually get that internship, and you're all fighting for the same piece of cake. NGO sector, I think it's a little bit more varied. I think you can definitely get an internship. Not a lot of money, but no internship is a lot of money. But at least you can get the valuable insight, you can get the valuable knowledge, and you can also just build your reputation in the industry, build your name, get to work with different organizations. I know NGOs collaborate a lot. You get to work with a lot of corporates as well. You've got Pick and Pay, you've got, as I spoke about in the news, you can work with a lot of different corporates, which I've interviewed many of them on the show. And you never know, you could land a job there as their CSI head or as their CSR head or as their philanthropy go to. There's so many ways in which you can enter this space, the NGO space, the NGO sector, the sector of helping communities. Doesn't necessarily have to be this sort of idea, this mundane idea you have in your head about working in NGO space. It can be very exciting and it can be very corporate as well, but it can also be very rewarding. That's what I love about it. Sort of this 360 kind of space that you're working in. Another thing that's very important if you really want a job in the NGO space, especially if you want to work in a developing country outside of your own country or internationally anywhere else, is a volunteer. By far the most common method of gaining suitable experience for work in an NGO is simply volunteering. Even just a few hours a week can make the biggest difference. And also it can really enhance your CV. Volunteers contribute millions of hours a week in work in every country in the world, and many NGOs simply could not survive without dedicated time and support of a network of volunteers that enable NGOs to do certain work for less. NGOs are always looking for volunteers eager to learn, who are committed to their work, and many NGO professionals have gotten their first experience and taste for working within an NGO by volunteering. Most organizations will be able to offer you a choice of different roles and opportunities, meaning it is important that you select an opportunity that is going to benefit you the most and is closely related to your future. You can discover volunteering opportunities in NGOs around the world using NGO own website or some that and that we've heard of. There are so many ways in which you can enter the NGO sector. Do not sleep on the NGO sector. Get yourself the right information. Choose the organization you want to work for. Enhance your skills in that organization. If it's in another country, try and learn that other country's language. Understand their cultural and background. Understand the foreign governments, the media around that area. Be very vigilant so that when you do get that opportunity for an internship or you want to volunteer, you can exercise those amazing skills. Remember, you don't always have to be on the ground when you work for an NGO. You could also be in in finance. You can be in accounting. You can be in the media. You can be communications. There's so many amazing viable options that you can take. Open up your eyes. Look at your own immediate big NGOs. Even the smaller ones need your help, and see how you can make a difference and make money and do your best and travel and live a different experience. I think we really do sleep as Black people, as young people actually, on the different sectors in which where we can really make a difference and make money and really be great at what we do. So if you are passionate about people, passionate about children, passionate about animals, passionate about protecting human rights, passionate about because there's an NGO for every single passion, I'm pretty sure. Join it. Do your best. Grow in the ranks. Travel, learn, volunteer, be an intern, shadow, and I promise you, you will not regret it. You will find yourself somewhere in the world doing good and being so fulfilled. And that wraps up our show for today. If you have any queries on how what you need to get into an NGO a little bit more in depth, please don't forget to go to www.social-tv.co.za, and you can email and ask. If you have any other questions, you can go to @social1tv, and you can ask us on Twitter, and we will definitely come back to you. I'll try get a professional to come in to let you know the kind of opportunities you can have in NGO and the kind of success stories that have come out of people who are working, young people working in NGO. Also, a number of young people have and own their own NGOs. It's also a beautiful thing. You can own your own NGO. You can be a social entrepreneur in your own right, in your own way. So just be in the space, be in the industry, and you can find the loopholes. And that's it from The Social Show. See you all again tomorrow.
Live from 27 Boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.